October is here, and the pressure is on the top schools in the state to avoid being spooked before Halloween. We cover the state from north to south, east to west, uncovering the best highlights, plays, and storylines from Week 6. The Fox Sports Southwest High School Express rolls into H-Town for the Battle of Pearland. High School Scoreboard Live kicks off now. We start with the stunner in Austin. Bowie and Westlake, third quarter. Bowie up 10-0. Preston Wheeler deep down the middle to Stevie Johnson. Look at him finding his playmaker. And the Bulldogs are up big. But we move on to the fourth quarter. The Dogs play keep away. A 90-yard drive capped off with this field goal. They lead at 19-13 with 46 ticks on the clock. But here come the Chaps. Super sophomore Sam Ellinger deep down the field to Andrew Laycock. Yeah, and they're in business. Just one more play after this one, and they could make it happen. After an incompletion, they have one final shot from the 22. Oh, no! The ball is knocked down, and Bowie escapes. 19-13. What a way to kick off October. And welcome into the fastest hour in all of sports. The Guru, Craig Way, back in the saddle with me. I'm Rick Renner. Great to see you. Ripley's, believe it or not, we have reached the halfway point of the regular season. 41% of the state is off this week. The majority of 3A and 2A on bye weeks. But we got plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say that probably the main reason there aren't more top 10 upsets this week is because most of the top 10 had the week off. So there weren't many, but there was a surprise or two. And as far as that Bowie-Westlake game goes, not that much of a shock. Now, Sam Ellinger, outstanding quarterback, and tremendous job there that Todd Dodge is doing at Westlake, but always give credit to Jeff Abels for having his Bowie Bulldogs ready to go. They get a big district victory now. Bowie and Lake Travis certainly in the front-running seats for the moment, anyway, in District 14-6A.
Yeah, had Chase Coakley there in the end zone, but knocked down at the end. Great defense. Now to the biggest game in the state, the Battle of Pearland. Dawson and the Pearland Oilers meet for the very first time. The coaches go way back. They coached state championships together at Lamarck. Heck, they still hang out in church after all these years, which has the natives a little restless. Tony Heath led the Oilers to a state title over Trinity in 2010. That was the nation's #1 team they beat. While Eric Wells has built Dawson into a power. 20 playoff games in just 5 years. Dawson comes in on a 4-game winning streak. Pearland 5 in a row. And that's Ryan Diaz getting the handoff, getting around the left on the edge. Touchdown. Pearland up 8-3 in a low-scoring affair. Late quarter, Pearland up 8-6. Dawson trying to drive to take the lead. Xavier Johnson with the carry, fighting for the extra yards, but fumbles the ball. Oh, no! And Pearland recovers. Then the Oilers try to burn clock. Big third down. Quarterback Jake Blumrick straight up the middle and the keeper for the big first down. And then Blumrick trying to fight his way to the end zone and makes the second effort. Gets in there. Pearland wins it 15-6. The Oilers own the city of Pearland. The state's highest-ranked Houston team, #5 Pearland, rolls to their 6th straight win, well on their way to the Oilers' 15th consecutive playoff journey. What an atmosphere at the Rig tonight. Later in the show, Neil Beasley will give us much more on this game with the inside stuff of the DQ Big Game of the Week, the locker room speeches, both sides of Pearland, the $100 million man walking the sidelines, a rivalry so heated, even the pep rally was sold out.
Out to the greater Houston area, coming out of the Golden Triangle, a 2-1 Westbrook team taking on 5-0 Channelview. Tied at 7, Jalen Hurts dumping it to Itarius Giles. He'll go untouched, 55 yards for the score. Falcons on top, 13-7. Then it's Westbrook bouncing back. Isaac Avery, Keith Corbin, 26 yards to put Westbrook back in front. 14-13. The Bruins' DeMarcus Smith then goes in. Third score of the game, 34-28 Westbrook on top. Channelview not going away. Hits the quarterback, Jalen Hurts again. 44 yards for the score, but look at that final score as Westbrook comes back to knock off previously unbeaten Channelview, knocking out the Falcons. Well, remember Kimball Anders? He was an NFL fullback, back when fullbacks actually were part of the offense. 10 great years for the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, played at the University of Houston, had 3 trips to the Pro Bowl. Nowadays, Anders is walking the sidelines in Galveston. He's coaching those Golden Tornadoes of Galveston ball. Tonight, the Tours were trying to blow through Fort Bend and upset the second-ranked Fort Bend Elkins Knights. So, second-ranked team in the state in 5A, but early on, it's Cedric Brown with a reception, avoids the defender, nice block, in for the touchdown. Golden Tours on top. Class scores 7-0. Now in the third quarter, Elkins leading 9-7, and it's Jonathan Giles on the option, untouched. In for the score, Knights up 16-7, then Giles, pump fake, then Shimmick Lutz for the score, 22-7 in the fourth quarter. Now Elkins pulling away. Taj Jones, short reception for the first down, turns it into even more, weaving his way through, in, around, and beyond tacklers. He gets in for the touchdown. Elkins, number 2 in the state, looking every bit the part of it. They beat Galveston ball 32-7.
Let's check the top 10 in Class 5A. Look out for number 3, Temple. The Wildcats are back, Craigers. Might be the most talented team in the Super Centex. Got pushed by Maynard tonight. Last week, Temple beat LaDainian Tomlinson's Waco U 70-0.
It's a good ball club. You see that West Mesquite-Poteet matchup, good rivalry there. Turned out to be a shootout. More on that coming up a little later on. And other shootouts like Lufkin outscoring White House was a big one. And the Fort Bend's Ridge Point over Bush on Thursday night, highlighting some of that. Alito still rolling on at number 1.
Let's bring in the face of Houston, Ahmad Vital of Scout.com, who was at that Dawson-Pearland game tonight. Ahmad, hey, now that the dust has settled a little bit, how about this one turning into a defensive struggle? Both teams were averaging 45 points a game coming in, but not tonight.
No doubt, Rick. It clearly wasn't the case. I mean, I think the score was 6-3 at halftime. Both defenses were just really strong tonight. Neither one of them was having it. They were pushing back. It was a lot of hard hits tonight. There was a couple of guys who ended up actually leaving the field tonight, but definitely Pearland came out and basically made literally one more play. I know that's kind of a cliche and don't like to use those too much, but really and truly, Pearland made one more play, late in the fourth quarter to be able to seal the win and come away with this victory to stay clean in 2014.
Ahmad, we've talked about several of the schools in the outlying areas of the greater Houston area. We've talked about George Ranch. We've talked about Richmond Foster as well. Let me get your thoughts on Fort Bend Elkins. What are your thoughts on the Knights at this point?
Craig, I really do. I got a chance to see Elkins early on, and I tell you what, Jonathan Giles, obviously headed to Texas Tech, he's running that offense as good as anybody in the city. The kid is an absolute playmaker. You get the ball in his hands, he's a lot more poised than he was in years past, and he's able to be able to make those plays to be able to keep them in line. So, he's making a good choice between running past and just standing back there and just throwing darts and just really, really making some great decisions with the ball and able to definitely lead the team to victory. And obviously they came away with another good one here tonight.
Thanks, Ahmad. Great stuff. Check them out at Scout.com. Let's take a break on the show. Some great 6A games tonight. Showdowns in the DF Dub, the Steel Curtain in San Antonio, and you, the Manville, is on a mission in H-Town. We will be right back.
High School Scoreboard Live is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now for great deals during the Built Ford Tough Sales event.
Welcome back to High School Scoreboard Live. Aaron Hardigan here with your rapid recruiting look. Taking a glance at the top linebackers in the state of Texas this week. And for the first time in this segment this season, we see just one verbal commitment. That's Cedar Hill's Richard Moore headed to Texas A&M, which leaves 9 of the best backers in Texas still up for grabs, folks. 5 of them juniors, and certainly all wanted by college football powers. Speaking of power, seems we talk about him each week, and rightly so, as Mesquite-Poteet's Malik Jefferson sits not only the best linebacker and overall player in the state of Texas, but the #1 linebacker in the entire country, #2 overall player nationally. So he's okay. His senior teammate DeAndre McNeil also makes the list here at #8. So Mesquite-Poteet well represented defensively and in action tonight with crosstown rival West Mesquite. For highlights of the action, let's get you back to Rick and Craig.
Thank you, Aaron. Malik the Freak Jefferson, no helmet during handshakes. Before this one, he was held out of the game from an injury last week. Third quarter, Poteet up 17-14. Jalen Smith gets the edge, and he'll go 25 yards for the score. Poteet's up 24-14, and they would continue to score in this one. Still third. Wranglers down 3. Chasen Virgil, who got over the 1,000-yard passing mark this year, to D. Anderson. That made it 28-24. Then Caleb Fletcher. The pass complete to DeAndre McNeil. Oh, this kid's he's so exciting. Number 7 goes in for 6, and that was 81 yards there. Poteet retakes the lead, 31-28. Then LaBilly Hunter rushing for 34, and the score. And the Wranglers would retake the lead with the answer. But the ensuing possession, Jalen Smith, the rush for 9 yards, and the score, Poteet back in the lead. Then the ensuing drive, Wranglers on 4th down, need to convert to have a chance, but Virgil is sacked, and the game is over. Mesquite Poteet wins it 37-35. More on that one with Corbett Smith in a moment. Have you ever experienced a touch of greatness? Well, this is bigger than bumping into J-Lo or a Kardashian. Southlake Carroll had a homecoming dance at the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys, the Gaylord Texan in Grapevine. Well, out pops Des Bryant in his black Bentley, kind of Craig Way style, and the Southlake kids took pictures with the Lufkin standout, throwing up Dez's X, which he does on touchdowns. He caught 53 passes, 1,200 yards, and 21 touchdowns in his senior year at Lufkin. Well, if Carroll keeps rolling, Dez may adopt some of those dragon celebrations for the Cowboys. Southlake in a scary one with Coppell tonight. Score knotted at 14, Coppell Cowboy. Charles, Wild Wild West, takes the pitch, and he'll go 63 yards here for the score. He's a good running back. We don't talk about him enough. That made it 21-14. And Coppell is in control, but the Dragons not backing down with little Jordan Humphrey. And he'll fight his way into the end zone. We're tied at 21-all. 4th frame, under 2 minutes to go. Coppell up by 3. It's Humphrey again, powering for the score. And the win, Carroll escapes Coppell 28-24.
Carroll ranked in the top 10 in the state out of the Metroplex. So too is Skyline High School. And you look at them taking on the Jesuit Rangers in the second quarter. Jesuit trying to make a comeback. Mo Schneider connecting with Peter Lynch, but just too much from Skyline. Kylan Johnson, Terry and Randolph, 30-yard touchdown strike. Skyline up at that point, 42-24. They poured on the 4th. DeLeon Ward takes one to the house, his 4th of the night. Skyline, perfect so far this season. They win big again. Final 56-30. The Raiders with another win.
Wow. Meanwhile, in San Antonio, the Cibolo Steel deal in a district showdown with the Clemens Buffaloes. Steel, they love to get crazy with number 1. Jalen Harris, early and often, for good reason. Look at him move in that tight space. Even then, it's tough to bring him down. Then the next highlight, Harris again, creating more space and more running room. The Knights and Harris get deep into Buffalo territory, and that's when quarterback L.G. Williams fakes the handoff and keeps himself. He gets in, Steele rolls, 31-0 there.
Another state-ranked team, Manville. The Mavs at home getting ready to take on South Houston, and opening possession for the Mavericks. Swing past Austin Alexis. He'll get leveled and cough it up. But Gary Haynes right there. He'll pick it up and scoot down to the 5-yard line. Very next play, Derek King to the air with a strike to Haynes for the touchdown. This is a really good football team, folks. Manville wins 52-7 over South Houston.
Meanwhile, the favorites in 6A having a big night tonight. Still bizarre to not see Katy ranked in the top 10 for the first time in decades. The Tigers have the week off before the big one with Seven Lakes next week.
You're exactly right about all of that, and yet all of those teams are deserving to be in the top 10. They're all really, really good.
And you can make the case for the Woodlands as well.
Absolutely.
Who beat Katy, knocked them out. They only got 1 loss.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's bring in the pride of Banquetti High. We have highlights of them later in the show. Corbett Smith of the Dallas Morning News, who joins us from his basement. Corbett, you were at that crazy Mesquite Poteet West Mesquite game tonight. Poteet, without the best defensive player in the country, Malik Jefferson, held out of this one from an apparent concussion the week before. But can you believe the Pirates pulled it off without him?
I can. They've got a real talented squad. DeAndre McNeil that's a name to remember. If you talk to Coach Cody Groves there at Poteet, he'll say to you straight up, he thinks that McNeil might be better in a couple of years, maybe not better, but as good as Jefferson in a couple of seasons once he gets some seasoning in college. Right now, he's a do-everything player. He breaks an 81-yard touchdown catch tonight. He also had a Wildcat quarterback touchdown. Last week, he had 3 sacks as outside linebacker. They play him all over the field, and really, he's one of the more talented players there. This game was loaded with Division I talent. About 10 players on both sides of the ball will be going to college to play ball.
Corbett, it would be pretty normal for folks to be dubious of a team that has 3 losses in its first 6 weeks. Yet, you look at Coppell, you look at the way they pushed Carroll, you look at how they played tough competition as well. They played Cedar Hill. Are they the best 3-3 team in the state? I guess that's the best way to describe the Cowboys right now.
I think there's no question about that. That performance against South Lake Carroll was very impressive. They've got so much size up front that they're going to be able to be physical with almost anybody. We will see in 3 weeks really the test of them, because that's when they play Euless Trinity. And Euless Trinity and Coppell are both going Division I. So this game really doesn't matter as far as playoffs go. Coppell's not used to losing district ball games, though. So, this might fire them up. Mike DeWitt, first-year head coach, will have a little bit of motivation as they work through some things here in the coming weeks to face Trinity. But what a physical battle that'll be.
Thanks, Corbett. Great stuff. Check him out with his tag team partner, David Newberry of 1310 The Ticket, as we simulcast the radio show at 11 o'clock every Friday night, powered by the Dallas Morning News. Let's take a break. We're just getting the party started. Coming up next, we'll take a trip down Interstate 35. Temple, Austin, Bernie Champion. We don't stop until the final touchdown or a missed extra point. Next. Let's roll out the Bill Ford Tough Player of the Week watch list. These are some of the cats we're keeping an eye on for the most prestigious honor in high school sports. North Carolina-bound Nathan Elliott has Salina thinking rings. Baylor might have the next RG3. In Temple, dual-threat sensation Chad President. Denton Geyers, Alex Honey putting up big numbers as the Air Force offering. Morgan Watley is a good-looking receiver out of Houston Memorial. He's got Rice, Cal, SMU, and Iowa State interested. And Leander Rouse's AA is for awesome. Make sure you vote for your favorite player at playeroftheweek.com.
I-35 battle, actually Maynard just east of I-35, but they go down 290, then they get on 35. They go up to Temple to take on the third-ranked team in the state 5A. Temple's offensive line kind of aloof right there, but they give up a sack. The president goes down. That's David Coolidge taking down quarterback Chad President. But Jamal Collins will take a lick at it and keep on ticking. He keeps battling his way through. Collins, for the Mustang, hits an open Rajon Crenshaw. And Charlie Jimenez will split the uprights, the left-footed kicker, but not enough. Temple wins again. Third-ranked Wildcats win it 28-14. And then Navarro taking on Lavernia, the Bears. Second quarter, Lavernia facing 4th down at the Navarro 27. Colby Skelton connects with Colton Parrish. 15-0 Bears. And little Rick Renner baby powder there going on. Then it's
I need that.
Navarro had not moved past their own 40-yard line before the 65-yard touchdown run by Anthony Grant. Extra point try no good. 15-6 Lavernia. Lavernia only has the one loss this season, and that one was to the LaGrange. This is a good ball club. Watch Colton Parrish with a good return. 83 yards on the kickoff return, bringing it back his second touchdown of the quarter. Point after try, blocked. Lavernia was up 21-6. They go on to beat Navarro 40-18.
In San Antonio, Bernie Champion in the catbird seat with their win over Alamo Heights. Can basically win District 27 with the win over Tybee tonight. Dalton Banks banking, connecting to Carson McCoy for the touchdown. Mules lead by 7. Bernie would respond. Alex Flores flips it to Court Cowart, and he is no coward as he will take it the distance, and Bernie Champion rolls 42-33. So Bernie Champion is 6-0 and survives the toughest part of their schedule with wins over Alamo Heights, Floresville, and now Kerrville-Tybee. You can just crown them district champs right now.
Well, they're in the driver's seat, and you know how you were talking about the Woodlands being one of those teams to watch in terms of winning games and not getting into the top 10 poll? Champion, 6-0. should be ranked in the top 10 in 5A. Not yet. Probably will be next week.
You'll be pushing for it this week, no question, when you do your AP ballot. All right, let's take a break. Coming up next, the Permian Basin, Brazos Valley, 3A, top 10, and later, the DQ Big Game of the Week in Pearland. You're watching Scoreboard Live.
When I heard the word cancer, I knew my life as I knew it would never be the same.
Everything stopped.
And I just said, I'm going to beat this. And that's when I found Living Beyond Breast Cancer.
Purchase a specially marked bottle of pink lemonade 5-Hour Energy, and a portion of the proceeds will help provide survivors like me with a much-needed community of support.
Living Beyond Breast Cancer is a lifeline for so many people.
I just love being able to say that I'm living beyond breast cancer.
Coming up Saturday on Fox Sports Southwest, Marshall takes on Old Dominion at 11. Then at 3, Kansas and West Virginia go head-to-head. Followed by Pitt and Virginia at 6:30. Saturday's lineup is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
You know what happens when the biggest sports in the world collide on one stage?
We head out west. Big Spring cracking into the top 10 poll, and the Steers taking on Andrews. They were ready for Tobin Tannehill and the Steers to spike this touchdown pass there to Matt Giannis. 7-0. Big Spring on top. Later in the first, it's 14-0. Andrews needing an answer. Jace Hammock, quick toss to Levon Lewis. Nice little pickup. A few plays later, it's Taj Kelly on the handoff. Takes it in for the score. Now look at that final score. Andrews rallied back, got a lead. Big Spring came back. Tobin Tannehill missed a 24-yard field goal try in the waning seconds, and they dropped their first game of the year.
Wow, District 2, 3A, Abilene Wiley at Vernon. Winners on the fast track to the playoffs. And right there, that's a 15-yard touchdown from running back sensation Clay Johnston. Clay getting it done his way. Then playing some defense with Vernon quarterback Brandon Leia, picked off in the end zone by Lane Borland, and Wiley moves to 4-2 in non-district play, beating Vernon 21-13. Why aren't they in district play? And looking at that top 10 in Class 3A, number 1 Cisco, Craig, got a scare for Henrietta tonight. They were down early, but they win at 23-12. 3 other teams with bye weeks to rest. What else is jumping out at you?
Well, see, what you mentioned about not being in district play, out farther in West Texas, they'll go 5-6 weeks before they can jump into district play because the scarcity, the small, compact way in which those districts are constructed. Yes, Cisco got pushed. Rockdale, really good. I think Corrigan-Camden may be the best 3A team that nobody talks about anyway. Really good. They win big on the road at Diboll. And you see number 7 and number 8, Teagan Malakoff. I don't know where I'll be 3 weeks from tonight, but I'd like to be at that game. That's when they meet in district play.
And someone else we just showed in there, Big Spring has had an unbelievable schedule. They had the big win last week, got them in the top 10, but then they lose tonight. Surprised?
Yeah, well, you know, Andrews and Big Spring, it was going to be a good ball game. I thought it would be close. Andrews made a nice comeback after being down in the game. And we mentioned Big Spring rallied, had a chance, had a touchdown wiped out in the waning seconds, tried to win it on a field goal. Tobin Tannehill unable to connect on the field goal, but he's an outstanding quarterback. As we know, Big Spring will be okay despite the loss tonight. Congratulations to those Andrews Mustangs. Howard.
Yeah, the brother of the Miami Dolphins quarterback, he is fun to watch. All right, break time on Scoreboard Live. Coming up next, a journey to the corners, east to west Texas in 2 minutes. It's never been done. We're going to do it next on Fox Sports Southwest.
Time now for the Built Ford Tough Texas High School Player of the Week winner.
Scoreboard Live rolls on with the best 2-loss team in Texas, the Ennis Lions, against unbeaten Nacogdoches, Destin Johnson and Johnson. Running 25 yards here for the Ennis touchdown. Denton Geyer, they played these guys. They said they're pretty darn good. Trey Elliott runs 10 yards for another Ennis touchdown. They can score with ease. Then it's Coronado Tolbert taking the ball for a 58-yard scamper. Oh, look at him go. It looked like the entire team was chasing him. They couldn't catch up to him. Once he gets away, you're not going to get him from behind. And then Ennis's Dante Thompson with the beautiful catch. He's one of the most exciting receivers in the area. Look at him get up. He's always open over his head. And Ennis rolls 57-26. Another dangerous 2-loss team, the Longview Lobos. You better Lobo up against Greenville. And they did. Desmond Chumley to Tillin Miller in the Greenville red zone. And then Miller would finish the job, taking the sweep to the house for the touchdown. Trust me, he gets in. Later, more Miller, this time taking the handoff and breaking a few tackles. He will work his way so strong. You got to get him low. You can't get him high. Longview rolls 56-7.
All right, let's go way up northwest, out for the Golden Crown of Texas and the Golden Sandstorms of Amarillo. Anthony Geiger off the toss, the touchdown, 7-0. Amarillo on top of Abilene Cooper. Then David Roth to Aaron Anderson for the score there for the Cougars. Ties the score at 7. Then one more time there. 52 yards this time. Caleb Freeman on the receiving end. It's 14-7 Cooper, but Amarillo rallies back. Sandy's win it, 28-17. Keeping it in the panhandle. Hereford, Lard. Those white faces taking on Plainview's Bulldogs. First quarter scoreless, and it's Paxton Oldfield to Khalid Riggins for the score. Extra point no good, 6-0 Dogs. Then in the fourth quarter, still 6-0, and Gonzalez, 1-yard keeper. Then a later touchdown there, and you see Plainview getting the win over Hereford, 49-14.
Coming up next, defense wins championships, and we'll check on the Battle of Mesquite, San Antonio, and a showdown of 2A powers who needed everything to get a win tonight. And I mean everything. Back in a flash.
Buy NBA League Pass.
Back down to the Alamo City area, and that's Connor and Marshall. We begin with Josiah Velasquez. Starts one way, and then he decides to go the other way. Nice gain. After being pushed out of bounds, it sets up Jonathan McIntyre to Jacobin Holmes. Full of touchdown. It was cruise time for O'Connor as they go on to get the win. The final in this one is 28-0. O'Connor with the win over John Marshall.
Elsewhere, Converse Judson winless in this matchup with San Antonio's Wagner. Season's on the brink here coming in. Running back Mikel Jackson for Judson. Rockets! And gets in for the score. They're liking that. Judson again. This time, Nick Ortiz shows off his speed as he goes 58 yards on this one. And the score as Judson soars for their first win in a dominating fashion, 47-3, the final there. Well, in Class 2A, usually when we talk about Hubbard and Chilton, we're talking about two top 10 ranked teams. They were earlier this year, but both are in desperate need of a win tonight. Sitting at 2 up and 2 down. Kind of bizarre. To the Super Syntex we go in a must-win situation. The Chilton Pirates taking on the Jaguars. And Chilton scores first in the Wildcat play. That made it 7-0 Pirates. Then late second quarter, Hubbard's Brayton Gillum on the quarterback keeper muscles into the end zone for the score. Failed 2-point conversion. It's a 7-6 game. Fourth quarter, Chilton driving. Norval Alston to Chris Holder, who holds that one for a touchdown. That would give the Pirates a 14-6 lead, and that was the final there. It was a defensive battle.
Down to the Coastal Bend region, Banchetti with the unenviable task. Those Dogs taking on the #1 team in the state in 2A. Yeah, it's those Refugio Bobcats. And Isaiah Perez, nice little magic trick there. Turns it outside, goes inside before you know it. 20-yard Refugio touchdown, 6-0 point after try, no good. Hey, the Bulldogs come back. Banchetti's quarterback, Ad Pena, 50-yard touchdown. And then they missed the extra point, but they get 2 on the block to make it 8-6 at that point. Isaiah Perez and another touchdown to make it 15-6. Then it's Jalen McCorrow finding Castellon once more. And it's 49-20. Refugio #1, and they win again.
And, you know, they're a little bit different than the team that scored like 90 points every single game when they had Travis Quintanilla, who had 10 touchdowns in the game, setting all kinds of records.
Lynx Hawthorne, who plays for Baylor
now at Baylor. And, you know, Quintanilla was unbelievable. We saw him on the stage at AT&T Stadium for 2 state title games. What about Refugio taking advantage of a night where everybody else was off?
Yeah, there were only 4 of the top 10 teams into a played, and Refugio sitting at the top of the list. Mart had the evening off, but the teams to watch out of this, I think, you include Mart, you include Bremont, you include Shiner, obviously you include Mason. That's just a group of those contenders, and the bulk of those schools are going to be in the D1 bracket, Rick, and when they are, it's going to be one very interesting Division I playoff bracket in 2A.
Refugio rolling again. Break time on Scoreboard Live. Hey, guess what? Neil Beasley was not the biggest star on the sidelines at the DQ Big Game of the Week. Who is that $100 million man? Back with that in the DQ Big Game of the Week in a moment.
Nobody.
Innadell Football senior John Washington rolled over Dallas Carter last week 70-21 to the tune of 300 yards and 5 touchdowns, and that earned him the Bill Ford Tough Player of the Week honors. Washington is headed to San Diego next year to play for the Aztecs. What a great running back. Here's the other winners of the most prestigious trophy in all of high school sports. Lubbock Monterey's Vincent Johnson led the Plainsmen to a 77-point night. In Class 5A, John Tyler's Gio McAllister was in the house for a 35-point win over White House. Joby Ainsworth led New Diana to their first win of the year. Cayuga's Keyshawn Jackson ran for 379 yards, 6 touchdowns at 12 yards a pop. Remember, his brother Malcolm is at Texas A&M. He led Cayuga to a state title. And in private schools, Thomas Fitz gives them fits with the perfect 5-0 start. Also a state championship lacrosse player. Nominate your favorite player at playeroftheweek.com based on performances on and off the field.
Up a stride far north Texas. We'll, I guess, take that tour around the state coming up, but that also includes that one of the oldest matchups in the state of Texas in the Wichita Falls area, Old High against Ryder.
Yeah, and both are 2-2 coming into this classic battle, expecting a little more from these guys, but boy, they can play.
Absolutely. Well, we'll pick up the action with Ryder quarterback Desmond Jackson with the lob to T.J. Vasher, somehow able to make the catch for the big play. Then it's to Cortez Carter. He'll finish the drive with a touchdown, but Wichita Falls does quickly respond. Eric Butler going to go up top, big, looking for Penn right there. The catch, in for the score. Old High, the Oats beat Ryder 50-36.
In El Paso, Andrus in a ridiculous mammoth offense they got, averaging nearly 500 yards a game. Quarterback Troy Klemanski has something to do with that, but Johnny Smith here, 28-yard run to the 2-yard line. Then there's Troy Boy getting in 7-0. Andrus goes on to beat Chapin 49-32. Klemanski over 1,300 yards this season and 20 touchdowns. He's a player.
To the Brazos Valley region we go. Huntsville taking on Bryan High. And Brian Vice trying to get to 2-0 in district play. They score on their opening drive is Kiki Johnson, 15-yard touchdown run, 6-0 Bryan. Then it's Johnson again. This time, Johnson going to hurtle into the end zone. Takes it in, 13-7, Bryan on top. Late in the half, however, Johnson strikes again. He's not done. Look at him weave his way through tackles. How about this? Kiki huffing and puffing, 61 yards on that run that caps a 99-yard drive after a goal line stand. Bryan would need it. They hold on to beat Huntsville 34-27.
A&M consolidated a stunning 1-3, hoping to make a statement on homecoming. And here he is, Mason Hickson, going up top to a wide-open Derek Dick. A 73-yard touchdown gives the Tigers a 7-0 lead. He's still running. Later in the first, Mason is out with an injury, and Dick is taking the snaps now. He connects with Merchant, who makes his way in for another Tiger 6. And then Willis manages the field goal, but just before halftime, Tigers tack on one more. Dayton Lane on the quarterback run here to Daniel Zibney, and it's a 35-11 halftime lead, and that holds up.
A&M Consolidated saying, what you talking about, Willis? You beat them 35-11.
What about A&M Consolidated?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, they've played some tough teams.
Sluggish start.
Yeah.
Played some tough teams. Talent undeniable. Watch them as you get closer to the postseason. If they get a little head of steam there, they're going to be really difficult once you get into the postseason.
All right, coming up next, we got the often imitated, never duplicated DQ Big Game of the Week. Neil Beasley takes his act to Pearland.
Hey, people will stand in line forever, it seems like, for a DQ treat, and people have been waiting forever, it seems like, for this week's DQ Big Game of the Week. Pearland against Dawson. Dawson hasn't been around that long. In fact, just 7 years, 5 years of varsity experience, but in those 5 years, they've been to 20 playoff games already. Oh, boy, that was a Heath. I love Heath. Oh, speaking of Heath, Coach Tony Heath for Pearland got some success as well. Since he's been there, 166 wins, just 46 losses, and a 2010 state title to go with it. So it's certainly a great football game tonight, man, and great treats as well. But I missed out on the treats, but I will get the football game. These guys are neighbors. They've loved each other for years, but now they're going to hate each other tonight on the field. So it should be a great one. Dawson and Pearland, certainly big enough to be our
DQ Big Game of the Week.
Okay, Cowboys.
Out of the greater Houston area, Brentwood, Brazos Wood pick up the action. Quarterback Joshua McKenzie connects with Lorraine Ross, and Lorraine Ross does the rest for those Mustangs. Look at him pick his way through traffic in for the score. That was for Brazzlewood. Friendswood, however, does respond. It's quarterback Corey Lewis. He'll go 70 yards on this touchdown. And Friendswood off and going at that point. Mustangs roll and pull away to win this one. Final score, 35-20 over Brazzlewood.
Craig, on the road again. It's the first year of existence. The High School Express has traveled more than Katy Perry did this summer. From one border to the other, Texarkana, El Paso, the Alamo City, Rio Grande, and now up north to the greater Houston area. All told, over 2,500 miles, with over 10,000 stops at Dairy Queens all over the state, with the Fox Sports Southwest girls singing the entire way, averaging a delicious Frosty about every 2 hours. New school against old school in a same town of Pearland for the very first time ever. Here's the Beezer and the DQ Big Game of the Week.
Hey, we love the small-time atmosphere, the small games with the small schools on the DQ Big Game of the Week. We've had 2 6-man games.
No kidding.
Yeah, but that's not the case this week. You know why? Because the biggest game in the biggest state is in the biggest city, the Space City, Houston, Texas.
Fox Sports Southwest has come to the city because of a big game.
And going big means sharing the love. And of course, Houston has such great football. We got to get Pearland versus Dawson. Whether it's TV in the morning.
He's been doing it for how many years? 9 now?
9, and Jeff, our photographer right there, has been doing it for 12, all 12.
Or radio in the afternoon. It's all football all the time in these parts, baby, as it should be. Starts off on Wednesdays at Dawson High School.
Make sure y'all come out early Friday night to come support.
Yell Night, a chance for these folks to show their Eagle pride. This school draped in success. Less than 10 years old, but already a top 10 Lone Star Cup finish. Most of these kids grew up wanting to be Oilers. Now, Dawson young, but all grown up in 6A in the latest realignment, and would love nothing more than to leave Pearland feeling. But over at Pearland, they know a thing or two about winning. The Oilers are big on the Texas high school football scene. Pearland, an awful 6-63 until Coach Tony Heath flipped the switch. 166-46 cents and the 2010 state title. Football not the only ones driving the success. Who else, you ask? Softball and academic decathlon with state titles as well. And an unbeaten record so far this year on the gridiron has these boys thinking big again. Everybody wanting in on this one. Woo!
Hello. Boudin and chicken wings.
This game between instant rivals is sold out. Not only do the kids know each other, a lot of Dawson's coaches came from Pearland. The 2 head coaches, heck, they go to the same church. Coach Eric Wells of Dawson with son Tucker on the squad for this new rivalry, and with stud running back Brett Winnigan. 2,300 rushing yards last year.
1, 2, 3, hold on!
The rig was only Pearland's domain. Now, not happy about splitting it up, sharing with Dawson. But there's no sharing the W. Unbeaten versus unbeaten? Not after tonight.
Let me play great but fair.
Let me play great but fair.
Help me to learn something that matters.
Help me to learn something that matters.
When the game is over.
When the game is over.
When I know victory.
When I know victory.
Let me feel happy.
Let me feel happy.
Remind me that football.
Remind me that football.
It's not just a game.
It's not just a game.
But a way of life.
But a way of life.
And if through football.
And if through football.
I can set an example.
I can set an example.
Let it be a good one.
Let it be a good one.
Let's begin.
First half, defense is popping. In fact, Dawson forced a punt. Zoinks! It's over his head, in and through the end zone. That's a safety. Only fitting with these 2 great defenses. It's 2-zip. Eagles answer. Senior Vance Galloway. 59-yard pitch, catch, and then run with Braylon Mouton. Oh, he fumbles, but Dawson does get it back. Leads to 3. It's 3-2. What is this, playoff baseball? Next possession. Oilers gushing. 10 plays, 86 yards. Ryan Diaz. Number 10, in from 10. 2-point conversion, no good. 8-3, Pearland with the lead. In fact, it's just 8-6. Tight one at the break.
You did not come to play 2 quarters. You came to play, committed to 4 quarters. 4 quarters to play. We know what it's all about. It's about playing ball or football for 4 quarters. Again, 48 minutes to play. You got a lot of time to remember. A lot of time to remember. That's why you run 44. That's why you do many things you do for each other. Go out there, have fun, and get after their talent. Yes, we can. Yes, we will.
Second half, more defense. In fact, check it out. Galloway gets popped. He would have to leave the game. Sophomore Zach Smith pressed into service. And how about this? The reigning AFC Defensive Player of the Month, Houston Texan J.J. Watt, loving the defensive slugfest. Fourth quarter, 6.5 left. Dawson, 33-yard field goal for the lead. No, it's blocked. Bryson Drennan off the edge, so it's still 8-6. Pearland by a deuce. Under 4 to go. Dawson's Savion Johnson. Oh, Cordell called with the strip. Deontay Givens recovers. Again, the Eagles are grounded. Sets up this 8-play drive. Jake Blumbrick with the whole band of Roughnecks working together. He's in. Ball game. 15-6 your final. These brand new district rivals with a good old-fashioned slugfest.
It was a lot of talking, but that just comes because we're rivals, you know, and we always want to play each other. It's the first time in a long time, so it's been a good game.
I'm not even going to lie to you. There was a lot of, talking on Twitter, but Coach got us right. We had to get off of it. By Sunday, really Sunday night, the whole team was off of it. We was focused on the game, so that's how it's got to be.
The intensity was like nothing we've ever had. Like, no one's ever felt that intensity, and we were both talking back and forth, but, I mean, it was a good game. Like, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
You feed off you guys being here. You feed off the fans being here, packed house, and, it's just, it makes it a great event.
Hey, they may share a stadium, but tonight the rig is oil country, baby! Yeah! Producer Clark Grove, photographer Jeff Irwin, I'm Neil Beasley with your DQ. Big game of the week.
Awesome day in Houston, the greater Houston area with Pearland. Beezer, are you surprised it was such a defensive battle? Both these teams came in averaging 45 points a game.
I think Neil kind of touched on it a little bit about how tough this rivalry is, and maybe it kind of, you might say, compartmentalized the game a little bit, kind of shrunk it down a little bit, and he had a lot of hitting and a lot of intensity. These are two teams that are capable of going deep in the playoffs, especially Pearland High. Of course, they went all the way to the finals a year ago. They won a title. Both of these programs know winning.
Yeah, those two coaches have a long history with each other. They even go to church together. The natives don't like that these days. Next week's DQ Big Game of the Week is a good one. Hallettsville against the Goliad Tigers.
Brahmas started off sluggishly this year, but now it looks like they have it going.
Coming up next, the play of the night. More highlights. We'll recap some of our big games tonight. Scoreboard Live rolls on after this timeout.
.com to give you a better state.
The talk of College Station isn't the Aggies, it's the Cougars. In their first year of varsity football, throwing up 83 points on Brian Rudder, who could have used more guys than just Brian Rudder in this one. 34-0, already down. Chris Sinnett takes it in, and now in the second 3-and-out, Rudder and everything's going right for College Station. Look at quarterback Ty Brock. The entire Rudder team is chasing him, and they can't catch him. 92 yards, College Station wins, 83-20, the biggest blowout of the night.
They must have missed an extra point there to have 82. Maybe they kicked 2 field goals. To the Metroplex, a couple of teams that could use a win. W.T. White, Longhorns against R.L. Turner from Carrollton. Turner starts it off. Brutus Walters, the concentration, one-handed snag gives the Lions a touchdown. But then it's the Horns' turn for W.T. White. Jackson Fultz on the keeper. Up the middle, taking a push in stride, in for the score. White gets the win over Turner, 27-25.
We had an absolutely unbelievable night of games. Let's recap all of them. Let's go to the Hills. We start with the stunner in Austin. Bowie and Westlake. Third quarter, Bowie up 10-0 in this one. And Preston Wheeler deep down the middle to Stevie Johnson, and the Bulldogs are up big. Fourth quarter now, the Dogs play a little keep away. A 90-yard drive capped off by a field goal that led 19-13 with 46 seconds left. You think it's over, but here come the Chaparrals. The Chaps, super sophomore Sam Ellinger, getting it done deep down the field to Andrew Laycock, who lays out for this one, and they are in business. After an incompletion, they have one final shot from the 22 to Chase Coakley. Oh! Knocked down. Bowie survives 19-13.
Coppell and Carroll. Big matchup in the Metroplex. These fans certainly ready for it. Score would be knotted at 14 when Coppell's Charles West, what a big night he would have. 235 rushing yards, and look at him weave and dodge. He takes it in. It's 21-14. Cowboys with that score, but the Dragons not backing down. Of course, we called his name a few times this season. Little Jordan Humphrey He's not so little, fighting his way into the end zone there. 21-21, the quarter. Under 2 minutes to go. Coppell up by 3, but it's Humphrey again, powering in for the score. Carroll beats Coppell in the nail-biter, 28-24.
To Mesquite, Poteet against West Mesquite. Malik Jefferson, no helmet, not playing tonight. Held out of the game, had an apparent concussion the week before. Jalen Smith gets the edge, and he'll go 25 whopping yards for the touchdown. And Poteet is up by 10, 24-14. Still in the third, Wranglers down 3. Chase and Virgil over the 1,000-yard passing mark to D. Anderson, 26 yards, and they're dancing in the aisles. And then in the fourth, Caleb Fletcher. His pass is complete to DeAndre McNeil. This kid's a playmaker. Number 7 will take it in for 6. 81 yards all told on that one. That made it Poteet 31-28. Then LaBilly Hunter hunting for a touchdown on the other side. 34 yards for the score here, and the Wranglers retake the lead. But the ensuing possession, Jalen Smith rushing for 9 yards in the score. Poteet put this one to bed, and they win it. Chase and Virgil gets sacked in the end, and Poteet escapes 37-35.
6A top 10 and things going according to plan. Allen plays a Saturday game against Louisville, and Brennan against Taft. Everybody else doing their job.
In the play of the night, we take you back to Galveston Ball and Fort Ben Elkins. Taj Jones. He'll catch the screen and take a look at some of these moves. Weaving in and out of the defenders, some great downfield blocking as Jones would not be denied. 43-yard pitch and catch, good enough to be our play of the night. Well, some interesting games tonight. 3A's Newton beats 4A's ranked West Orange start tonight. Victoria West over Cal Allen, and congratulations to Hardin Jefferson. They beat a perennial power in Tatum tonight, 21-14. The Jeff is 6-0, matching the school's best start in history set in 1965.
That's two big stories out of the Golden Triangle region. Hardin Jefferson winning, and then, of course, you mentioned West Orange start falling to Newton from deep East Texas.
Love that. For Craig Way, I'm Rick Renner. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy your college football weekend. We're halfway through the regular season. We'll see you Friday night at midnight.